Welcome to the Spirit of a Badass, where we celebrate stories of courage, hope, and resiliency. I am your host, Alecia Jacobson. Hello, what's up? Got a solo episode for you today. Today's going to be short and sweet because your girl's leaving on vacation. I got a trip tomorrow, and today is all of the kind of getting things ready. I smushed all the work into yesterday and the day before. So today is just making sure all the shit is done before I go. And this, not shit, but this is one of the things. And I have to say, I'm really impressed with myself because podcast math is kind of similar to my sourdough math in you have to plan ahead for it. And sometimes I think I have adequately done the, if I record, here's the date it comes. I think I've done all of the math, and I forget that it takes time. I have to plan it, and then there's time in between. I kind of have this thing sometimes where I just think it happens just now. I miss part of it. And when I'm making the bread, I have to kind of create the starter. So it's just a tiny couple little ounces of starter or grams, excuse me. And I have to build it up. And then I have to and then the bread takes a day. And that's sort of how the podcast is. All that to say that I'm fucking recording before I leave for my trip. I actually even thought about bringing my equipment with to record there. But then I didn't know if I'd actually do that because I like to just chill a little bit. But maybe actually now that it's popping in my head, maybe I'll bring it anyway. But anyway, I'm super jazzed that I remembered and I wasn't like, oh, fuck. How did I not know that the day I come back, I'm not going to have time to record before it needs to be produced and released. So pat on the back for me, because sometimes that type of planning, whatever that bucket goes into, don't do so well with. And it actually reminds me so much of the sourdough, which I just love. I tell you, I love sourdough. I love baking sourdough. I love giving it to people. I made some focaccia this morning. Didn't turn out the greatest. I'm not sure why. It tastes good, but the color looks like it's not done. So I'm not quite sure what happened there, but I made it for my dad. And that is funny because I made it for my dad today because I was supposed to make it on Sunday, which meant I had to start it on Friday. And Friday was my daughter's birthday last Friday. And I did my math wrong and I didn't start it Friday. So then when I went to do it, I was like, well, shit. There's a little bit too much pre-planning that is involved in it. And, I don't always do that. And it's fine. It's fine. All right. Today, I have a little story today, and I will share first that I apologize for what I do to you today because it is not my intention. However, I cannot tell the story without what will inevitably happen to you. So my apologies in advance. I'm going to kind of go back to the summer where I had this voice pop in my head. So in the summertime, if you have children and they're of the age where things need to be coordinated, you know how much effort goes into a summer. And it reminds me of there's an episode on Modern Family where Claire and Phil are trying to get a couple of days where their kids are all gone at the same time. And they have to do all this finagling and trying to get their kids on board with doing it. Well, that is what I start in probably February planning. And I will tell you, I did a really damn good job this last summer of planning everything. I was so ready. And then I had 3 weeks, it actually wasn't a total of 3 weeks. I think it was a total of 14 days where I had both my girls in camp all day long. So I didn't have to do driving back and forth. I wasn't like, okay, I can have this session here, but then I can't have another one for 90 minutes because I have to drive. No worrying about being quiet. I had 14 days of solid 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Don't have to worry about them at all. That did not happen. I'm sure you saw this coming. I don't remember what all happened. I think day one, my youngest was sick, and this girl never gets sick. I remember she fell asleep on the couch at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, shit, she's my up and running, and she talks a million miles an hour as soon as she wakes up. There's no break in this child. So she was sick. And then one of the days, it was the last week. There was some hot days. They closed down 2 of the 14 days for heat. One day, I think there was tornadoes, so I had to go get them. It's an outdoor camp, and they don't like storms very much because we had one that like rocked the shit out of our house one time. Not like a tornado, but lightning, and it scared it was loud. It struck in our backyard and knocked down a tree. So they're kind of a little terrified. So I had gotten them. Anyway, all this to say, did not happen. Last week of camp, I get a call that I need to come pick up my child because she has head lice. Again, I apologize for what is happening to you now as I say that word. And I'm like, this is so interesting because my daughter, my youngest, had been itching her head the week prior. And I get my glasses on and I'm like looking through and I just see like the cradle cap that the little babies had. Like that's what I saw in her. And I'm like, all right, girl, go in the shower. You needed to, this was, I think like the day before or 2 days before, an extended shower. We're going to scrub, rinse, like take a long, like let all of that stuff come out. So she had done that. So I go to pick her up. And I'm like, are you sure? Because I did just look because she was itchy, and these camp counselors, like, bless their hearts, they're looking at me and they tip my daughter's head towards me so that I can see. And again, okay, it's happening to me. I'm itching already. They tip her head towards me and I can see these motherfucking bugs crawling all over her head. It was the most embarrassing and disgusting experience that I have ever had. I saw them. I had just spent, I don't remember if it was the day before or a couple days before, she had showered. Well, this was on a Monday. So it was the Friday before. My older one had gone to a friend's house and she had showered, and I sat with her brushing her hair. And she's like, oh, that feels so good. Like rubbing her hair, rubbing her back for over an hour. I don't know what. Oh, I can't stop the itching now. I'm so sorry for you, but it's part of my story. So this was just like, what the actual fuck? How did I miss this? This is the 3rd week of camp. It is a Monday. It is noon, and you are now not going to camp. So I call there's a lady that like heat dries them off your head. So we all went there and we got it taken care of. But then, lice is like puke, right? It's not just that. There's laundry. There is not sleeping because you feel terrible. There's all of these other pieces that go with it. And then my husband was leaving on a trip for work and not going to be here. And this was week 3 of my 3 weeks of I get dedicated time to get all the work done, all the shit done. Like this was my summer, my 3 weeks. And I'd already had sick days and heat days and all of the things that had happened leading up to it. And I remember being at the gym that morning and I said, I just hope this is a normal week. It was not. So I couldn't have a breakdown. That afternoon, after she came home, my husband came home. My other daughter came home also, and she also had it. And I wrapped all of our heads in saran wrap. And we went to the lady. But before I did that, there is a place that I like to go that is, I guess I would call it my grounding place. I've talked about it on here, I think probably season 1. There is a willow tree there. I used to go there as a kid, and it really just centers me, and it's like white noise. Everything, all the background goes away, and I get clarity in this place. And I just left. I'm like, I just need to get out of here. I have to just go because it was just those times where it's just one thing after another. And I'm like, I don't have time to break right now. Like I can't be broken. I can't. So I just left and I got a coffee and I went and I sat at this park. And as I'm sitting there, this voice in my head, in my body, wherever, whispers, it says, remember who the fuck you are. And I was like, damn, way to hit me. Remember who the fuck you are. And I got tingly and I was like, fuck yeah. Remember who you are. You're not going to let a little lice break you. you, nothing ever, things don't work out. Like I can't sit here. You truly don't have time to have a break. This is not part of what you have space and time for right now. So remember who the fuck you are. And I'm sharing this with you now. I had written it on my plan, but I'm sharing it with you at this moment in time because I am working with a good amount of women right now who I think have forgotten, and it's not top of mind, who the fuck they are. And if they haven't, and I also needed this message given to me by whomever in my head, body, world, then I think other people do too, because life has a way of just fucking knocking us down or getting us not even off track, because I don't think it's off track. I just think that it's like the rug gets pulled out from underneath us, or things that are not important. Just too many things come up and it almost erodes away at who we are. And we're always evolving. Like I'm not saying that we don't, but I think there is a core part of us that can easily be set aside, and we just chameleon to the environment, the situation, whatever we have to do. I really think that every once in a while, we just need to remember who the fuck we are. And this came up for me again this last week, how I mentioned it was my daughter's, it was her 8th birthday. And she is my little hypno water baby. I've had 2 hypno babies. And what that is you essentially train yourself how to do hypnosis. And you take about 6 to 8 weeks prior to birth of your baby. And you learn this hypnosis technique. My first birth was not the most delightful experience, which is why then I did it for my second. And that one, like legitimately the most amazing experience ever. It took a lot of time. And when you have a small toddler and then trying to take an hour of time each day to learn hypnosis, not the easiest thing. And he wasn't the greatest napper. So that was a little tricky. But there was one point I was 9 centimeters dilated and my doula whispered, she said, they're called pressure waves. Have they stopped or are you in hypnosis? And I was just so deep in hypnosis. And the only sensations I even had was pushing, like legitimately, and not even pain. It was just sensations. And when I was sharing, because I've kind of stopped putting my children on social media as much. So I was sharing a picture of my very pregnant self sitting on a pumpkin and saying, it was the night before her birthday. And I like to reminisce on my kids' birth stories. Although as they've progressively gotten my 3rd and 4th kid, I feel like I forget what was happening because there was just so much happening. And she was a hypno water baby. And I hate water, which is so interesting. And I had her in a bathtub and was doing the hypnosis. And it was just one of the most powerful experiences. And I say this in connection with remember who the fuck you are, because that's who the fuck I am. I am able to tap into a part of my body and mind and control the shit. And I can do the things. I was able to have a delightful birth and you're not supposed to use words like pain and stuff, but I'm going to use that here because if you've not done it before, you can kind of understand what I'm meaning, but like 0 fucking pain. I did that with my mind. And if I can do that with my mind, I can fucking make it through head lice. Oh, and by the way, it came back, the head lice. It came back a month later. How the fuck did it come back? I don't know. I do not know, but it did. And shit always comes back, whatever it is, like comes back around. And I really think that whatever this was that told me to remember who the fuck you are, it lit something in me and it shifted me, because we have times in life where it feels like there is too much, and especially fucking what we're in right now. I mean, everything feels like there can be too much. And also, we have to find the delight. We have to find the wonder. We have to remember who the fuck we are and tap into that shit. Because if we let ourselves get sucked in too much in the shit that just doesn't matter and we lose our focus on what does matter, it gets too easy to slip, especially in the environment that we are currently in the world. We can slip. And what the world needs is us to remember who the fuck we are and to show the fuck up. Right. And I think that that was just a really powerful experience that I had. And I was able to just kind of translate that into excitement and focused attention, which I will have to say, and I'll get more into this in future episodes that I have planned with some actually has to do with my sourdough. And I have a guest coming on that I'm super excited to share with you. And we're going to talk all things sourdough, which is so funny because it truly has nothing to do with sourdough. But I was in a really rough space. So to have this sort of whisper to me to remember who the fuck you are and tap into that, because I am so many things. And one of the things that I have been sort of trying to hold and be both of is still this very driven, more of a masculine energy, but I'm really, really trying to tap into this soft version of myself where I don't have to be in control, where I don't have to be that sort of push, burnout, that really fast pace. I am really, really, it's very intentionally and it's very uncomfortable. I was just having a conversation with somebody a couple days ago about being uncomfortable in these spaces that we're really working to be in, the softer, the slower, the less rush, the less overwhelm. But our body, our nervous system feels so comfortable in these high stress, overwhelmed situation that we then seek them out, even though we're actively saying we don't want it. I can't tell you how many times I was like, well, I just want to feel peace. None of my fucking actions did that. You want another dog? Sure. Let's get another fucking dog. Really, girl? Really? My daughter currently right now is trying to push for a turtle. And she's listing all of the pets that our other children, she's the youngest, that our other children have gotten. And I'm like, no. And I'm really holding strong to this because it's just, it would be so easy for me to be like, of course, she's right. She's not wrong. We've had a turtle before. We had two bunnies. We had two hamsters because one died. So we had to replace it before she figured it out. We have had all of these pets. And what did they cause? They're delightful and it's chaos and stress and more things for me to think about. Do they need to be fed and cleaned? And then I'm sitting here saying, have you changed the water yet? Have you fed them? Have you all of the things? Guess what? I don't need that. I don't need that. Is it a comfy place for me to be? Hell yeah, it is. I feel so good in chaos. So good. I thrive in chaos. However, long term, I do not thrive in chaos. I love the intensity of it. Not a long-term solution. 100% no. So knowing like we might feel pulled to that. And also it is not our destination. It is not where we are actively working to be, but we can't do any of this if we are kind of in that overwhelm and not tapping into our own power and our own center. And we have a gift and you have a gift and we need to be using it and recognizing it. And that day it was pointed out to me that I needed to remember what my gift is and who I am, and that this was not going to take me out, because it would have been real easy for me, kind of like even, with nutrition or health, where it's like something knocks you out and takes you off your schedule. And it could be so easy to get swept up in it and not get right back to it. And that's what that voice did for me. It was like, no, girl, like you've been working too hard. You've done too much lately to get yourself kind of pulling yourself up and gathering your things together to be order to be who you want to be. Like I have done some like deep, deep, deep work. And I could have easily just fallen apart because every single fucking thing that happened this summer could have been like, no, like, of course, if I would have told anybody, they would have been like, oh, no, you need a bed, a bottle of wine, some ice cream, and some Lifetime TV. Like, it was just one fucking thing after, and not big things, not anything like overwhelmingly big. It was the peppering of small things, like that pebble, whatever that story is, where she's like on the mattresses and she feels the small pebble. It was like 1,000 little pebbles that I'm now like falling over. And I didn't need that in my life. And thankfully, I had that voice that reminded me to remember who the fuck I am. And I hope that I can be your voice to remind you to remember who the fuck you are. And whomever that is, whoever you are, tap into her and tap into your gifts and go out and share them and live them and be them, because this world, your people, you need that and deserve that. And like, let that shit shine for real, because we need more of that kind of energy. That's all. I am sorry for what I did to you in this episode, but I guess I could have told the story without it, but I don't think you would have really had that feeling that I had without the full story. I will say too, there are a lot of really fun episodes coming up. I have someone coming in to talk about hormones and women's health. I have a very special friend that is going to be joining me to talk about sourdough, but also she has kind of reinvented her life many different times, which is really exciting. I just find that she's an amazing brain. And I have an episode coming up on kind of this new stage and place in parenting that I'm in, because holy fuck, I just talked about my chaos of the little ones, which that felt hard, but this stage of parenting that I'm in right now, this is hard. And it's a hard that I wasn't prepared for. And that I find really interesting, because I have people who are about 10 years beyond me in the game, and they always have the answers for me when I have gone to them in the past, and they don't have the answers. So if they don't have the answers, who has the fucking answers, and how are we supposed to do this? Because that I was like, what the fuck? Because I don't know. I'm not sure who to go to now. So I keep hearing bigger kids, bigger problems, but nobody was very specific on what that meant. And it means so many different things. And anyway, I have somebody on because I find it very interesting that I have been in this space for so long and I have not heard this really talked about in any sort of depth. So I'm going to be talking about that. So lots of really exciting things coming up soon. And so that's it. All right. I hope you are doing well. I hope that this inspires you to just tap into yourself and remember who the fuck you are and let that shit shine. All right. Bye. Spirit of a Badass is a Lit Path Studios podcast and is produced by Jamie Gale and Alecia Jacobson. Music by Shane Ivers. We'll be back with another inspiring interview. Until then, keep your spirits high and your energy badass.